Hello everybody. I thought it'll be easier if I explain each of the answers so that it is easier for you to understand. Because a number of you have got confused with the answers, so I thought it'd be easier. Now, the first one: which of the following diagnoses is unlikely based on this histology? Now, this histology is classical histology of lichen planus. You're seeing a band-like lichenoid infiltrate with sawtoothing of the retinages. Okay, you're seeing the sawtoothing here, and you're seeing a wedge-shaped hypergranulosis and dense lichenoid infiltrate. Now this is basically lichen planus. Now lichen planus like histology can be seen in lichen planus like keratosis, and also in drug eruptions. The only odd man out here is dermatomyositis, which basically is a vacuolar interface dermatosis, and you don't see a band-like infiltrate in dermatomyositis, and also you don't see the acanthosis, hypergranulosis, etc. So dermatomyositis is the answer. The second one is in fact much more easier. If you look at the low part, you're seeing a confluent infiltrate in the papillary dermis. It's a vacuolar interface dermatosis, and you're seeing a lot of this is a colloid body here that you're seeing here, and you're seeing here spongiosis. Can you make out that the epidermal cells are slightly ballooned out, the keratinocytes, and you can see the desmosomes here in between the keratinocytes. And also what you're seeing, see, this is in the colloid body here, and you're seeing a lot of lymphocytes going into the epidermis, which is spondiotic. This is called exocytosis. This is not epidermotropism, and the lymphocytes are not abnormal. All the lymphocytes are fairly uniformly round. They're not very abnormally shaped, and you're seeing vacuolar interface change in the basal epidermal layer. And the most important thing you're seeing here is confluent parakeratosis. Now, parakeratosis in association with interface dermatosis and spongiosis is really there's no other differential apart from pityriasis lichenoides. Okay, so the answer here is pityriasis lichenoides. In erythema multiforme, you often see orthokeratosis. There's no parakeratosis, and you see epidermal necrosis, which is absent here. These are just keratinocytes which are spongiotic. There's no necrosis. Cutaneous lupus, there's a superficial and deep infiltrate which is absent here, and there's normally no spongiosis or parakeratosis. Mycos fungoides, again, no spongiosis, and often parakeratosis is absent. Okay, and the lymphocytes do have to appear a bit atypical. You don't usually see colloid bodies. You see the colloid bodies here. The pink structure here in the middle of the screen is a colloid body. All right. And the higher, this is basically the colloid bodies are seen in the basal layer. This is quite high up in the epidermis, and this is a typical feature. High apoptotic keratinocytes is a typical feature of pityriasis lichenoides. Now, in the third question, if you look at the history, you've got the diagnosis. Now, most people have actually ignored the history. This is a 3-month history of a single itchy 0.5 centimeter size warty lesion. When I've said it's a lesion, you've automatically excluded lichen planus and discoid lupus erythematosus. So you're left with lichenoid keratosis, seborrheic wart, and viral wart. This has no feature of viral wart or seborrheic wart. Essentially, this histology is that of lichen planus. You're again seeing acanthosis, sawtoothing of retinages, okay, lichenoid infiltrate, dense band-like lichenoid infiltrate. This is lichen planus. But when you're seeing lichen planus, when you're saying the histology is that of lichen planus and you've got a lesion, then the diagnosis of lichenoid keratosis, which is basically a small keratotic lesion which has a histology of lichen planus, presumed to be either a seborrheic keratosis or a viral wart, or a cellular lentigo, but you cannot see the precursor lesion because the inflammation has become so much, the original precursor lesion is no longer visible. Okay, so this is a lichenoid keratosis. The fourth diagnosis is in fact a typical histological picture. You cannot get any more typical than this. These are lymphocytes that are lining up along the basal layer with a perinuclear halo. The lymphocytes here are slightly atypical. You can see here, look at this shape. The shape is irregular. The nucleus, much larger nuclei here. They're not all of a uniform shape. Some of them are big, some of them are small, not all of them are round. All of them have a perinuclear halo. There is not much spongiosis, and in fact, this is a Portier's microabscess that you can see in the middle of the screen, where you see a confluence of atypical lymphocytes forming almost a microvesicle. Okay, so, and the other feature is the papillary dermis. You see slightly hyalinized thickened collagen bundles, vertically oriented here, but yeah, this is sort of wire-like collagen thickening is what it's called, wiry collagen bundles, and this is more obvious here in lower power. You can see these wiry collagen bundles here. So on low power, you can be confused with a vacuolar interface dermatosis. But this is not erythema multiforme, because erythema multiforme there's epidermal necrosis. This is not pityriasis lichenoides because there's no parakeratosis, no spongiosis. And what are the differentials? Vitiligo, not this much inflammation is seen. In erythema multiforme, there should be orthokeratosis, basket weave type orthokeratosis, and there should be necrosis of the epidermis, which is absent here. The last one is easy. All lichen sclerosis, dermatomyositis are vacuolar interface dermatosis. So it is definitely, those are ruled out. So you're left with lichen simplex chronicus and Hansen's disease. Lichen simplex chronicus is a spongiotic dermatosis. It's a chronic spongiotic dermatitis, and therefore vacuolar interface change is not usually seen. Hansen's disease, on the other hand, and also other infectious diseases which may have vacuolar interface change include leishmaniasis. This can have vacuolar interface change. Okay, and this is often seen. So these are the answers. Hope the explanation is satisfactory. If not, please feel free to message me.